The city of New Avalon thrummed with energy as spring's first rains washed the streets clean. The Festival of Balance had faded into memory, but its spirit lingered. Mara walked the avenues, taking in the sights. Children chasing each other beneath blooming trees, merchants trading goods from distant lands, and the others gliding silently among the crowds, their presence now a source of comfort rather than fear. In the council chamber, a heated discussion was underway. Tomas spread a map across the table, its edges marked with new settlements and trade routes. "We're growing faster than we can manage," he said. "The outlying villages need support, tools, teachers, healers." Lyra nodded. "And protection. There are still wild places where the old dangers linger." Elias leaned forward. "We must send envoys. Show them that New Avalon stands with them." Mara agreed. "Let's organize a convoy. Supplies, books, and a promise of friendship." Sam, now a young woman, entered carrying a scroll. "There's a message from the bridge being," she announced. "It says the world is waking, and we must be ready to learn." The council fell silent, the weight of destiny settling over them once more. Preparations for the convoy moved swiftly. Wagons were loaded with grain, medicines, and tools. Artists painted banners bearing the symbol of the gate entwined with the tree of life. Mara led the group, joined by Elias, Lyra, Tomas, Sam, and a handful of eager volunteers as they set out. Crowds lined the streets, waving and singing. The others watched from the city's edge, their forms shimmering in the morning mist. The journey was both familiar and new. They passed through fields golden with wheat, forests alive with birdsong, and villages where curious faces peered from doorways. At each stop, the convoy was greeted with celebration and cautious hope. One night, as they camped beneath the stars, Lyra shared a quiet moment with Mara. "Do you ever miss the old days?" Lyra asked, her gaze distant. Mara smiled. "Sometimes, but I wouldn't trade this world for the one we left behind." Sam joined them, her arms full of wildflowers. "The bridge being says the land remembers kindness. Every seed we plant matters." Elias, overhearing, added, "And every story we tell." Midway through their journey, the convoy reached a valley shrouded in mist. The villagers here were wary, their eyes haunted by memories of the war and the unknown threat. Their crops struggled, and their wells ran dry. Tomas examined the soil. "There's something beneath the surface, old machines, maybe, or remnants of a mist." Sam knelt, pressing her hands to the earth. She closed her eyes, and the others who had accompanied the convoy gathered around her. Together, they hummed a low, resonant note. The ground trembled. Light flickered beneath the soil, and the mist began to lift. Water bubbled up from a hidden spring, and the villagers gasped in wonder. Mara addressed the crowd. "We are all part of this world. When we heal the land, we heal ourselves." A village elder approached, tears in her eyes. "We thought we were forgotten. Thank you for remembering us." The convoy stayed for several days, helping to plant new crops and repair homes. When they departed, the valley was alive with hope. As the convoy neared the northern border, scouts brought troubling news. Strange lights danced on the horizon, and travelers spoke of a shadow moving through the forests. Elias called a council that evening. "We must be vigilant. The world is changing, and not all change is gentle." Lyra sharpened her blade. "If there's a threat, we'll face it together." Sam painted a mural on the side of a wagon. A storm cloud pierced by sunlight, watched over by the others. That night, Mara dreamed of the bridge being. In her dream, it stood at the edge of a chasm, its eyes filled with sorrow and hope. "The past is never truly gone," it whispered. "You must be ready for what comes." Mara awoke with a sense of urgency. She gathered her friends and shared her vision. "We need to return to New Avalon," she said. "The city must be prepared." The convoy's return was met with celebration, but Mara's warning cast a shadow over the festivities. The council reconvened, and scouts were sent to monitor the horizon. Tomas worked with the others to strengthen the city's defenses, not with walls, but with living barriers of trees and streams, designed to heal as well as protect. Elias trained new recruits, focusing on unity and compassion as much as skill with spear and bow. Sam organized gatherings where people could share their fears and dreams. Her art became a source of strength, reminding everyone of the journey they had taken together. One evening, as the sun set over the city, Mara stood atop the highest tower, watching the clouds gather in the distance. Lyra joined her, silent for a moment. "Whatever comes, we'll face it as one." Mara nodded, her heart steady. "We are New Avalon. We remember, we hope, and we endure." In the gathering dusk, the city's lights shone bright, a beacon for all who sought balance, memory, and the promise of a better tomorrow. The summer solstice arrived with strange omens. On the eve of the longest day, a ribbon of green and violet light unfurled across the night sky, brighter and closer than any aurora before. The city gathered in the plazas, gazing upward in awe and unease. Elias stood with Mara, Lyra, Tomas, and Sam on the council balcony. "It's beautiful," Sam whispered, sketchbook in hand, "but it feels heavy." Tomas frowned, adjusting a lens to study the phenomenon. "It's not just light. There's energy in the air, like the night the gate was opened." Lyra's hand hovered near her blade. "Do you think it's a warning?" Mara looked to the others, who had assembled silently along the city's edge. Their forms shimmered in resonance with the lights, but their eyes were troubled, colors shifting in unfamiliar patterns. Mara approached them. "What does it mean?" The answer came as a ripple of thought, shared with all who watched. "The world is stirring. Old powers wake. The balance must be kept." A hush fell over the city as the lights faded, leaving behind a sense of anticipation and dread. The next morning, a caravan of travelers arrived at New Avalon's gates. They wore the dust of distant lands and bore news from beyond the horizon. Among them was a woman named Illyra, a scholar who had once lived in the city before the war. She was welcomed into the council chamber, where she unrolled a map marked with strange symbols. "There are places where the world is thin," she explained, "where dreams and memories bleed into reality. We call them the veiled places. They're growing." Tomas studied the map. "These are near the old ruins, where the mist lingered longest." Illyra nodded. "People have vanished. Some returned changed, speaking in riddles, haunted by visions." Elias asked, "Are the others involved?" Illyra shook her head. "No, they seem as wary as we are." Mara turned to the others. "Can you help us understand?" The others replied, "Veiled places are wounds. They must be healed, or the world will unravel." The council resolved to send expeditions to the veiled places to learn, to heal, and to protect. Mara led the first expedition, accompanied by Elias, Lyra, Tomas, Sam, Illyra, and a pair of others. They journeyed to the nearest veiled place, a forest where the trees grew impossibly tall and the air shimmered with unreality. As they entered, the world shifted. Colors deepened, sounds echoed strangely, and memories surfaced, some their own, some not. Mara saw flashes of the old war, her childhood, and visions of a city she'd never known. Sam paused, her eyes wide. "It's like dreaming while awake." The others moved with purpose, their forms stabilizing the shifting air. Illyra recorded everything, her hands steady even as her voice trembled. Suddenly, a figure stepped from the shadows, a young man, eyes unfocused, speaking in a language none recognized. The others touched his forehead, and he collapsed, breathing easier. "He's caught between worlds," Tomas said. "We have to help him return." Working together, they anchored the man's spirit with memories of home, songs, stories, and the warmth of shared fire. Slowly, the veil thinned, and the forest returned to normal. The others spoke. "This is the way. Memory and hope are the keys." Word of the expedition's success spread quickly. Teams were formed to visit other veiled places, always accompanied by the others and those with strong ties to New Avalon's history. Sam's art became a tool for healing. She painted murals at each site, images of unity and remembrance. Lyra led the defense, ensuring no one was lost to the veil's illusions. Tomas developed devices to measure the energy, learning to predict when and where new veiled places might appear. Elias organized gatherings where people share their stories, weaving a tapestry of memory that anchored the city and its people. One evening, as Mara and Illyra walked the city walls, Illyra asked, "Do you think the world will ever be as it was?" Mara smiled softly. "No, but it can be better. We've learned to face the unknown, not with fear, but with hope." The others watched from the shadows, their presence a silent promise. As the last veiled place was healed, the city celebrated with a festival even grander than before. Lanterns floated on the river, and the air rang with laughter and song. The bridge being appeared in the plaza, its form more human than ever. It addressed the people. "You have mended the wounds of the world. But remember, balance is a journey, not a destination. New mysteries will arise. Face them with open hearts." Sam unveiled her greatest mural yet, a panorama of New Avalon. The gate, the others, and the people all joined in a circle of light. Mara stood before the crowd, her voice strong. "We are not the city we once were. We are something new, something greater. Let us welcome the future, whatever it may bring." And as the sun rose over New Avalon, the city stood ready, not just to survive, but to thrive, to dream, and to remember. Years passed, and the children born after the restoration grew up in a world fundamentally changed. They had never known the fear of the old war or the silence of the mist. Instead, they were raised on stories of balance, unity, and the courage of those who had faced the unknown. That Sam's murals adorned every school and plaza, and her gentle presence inspired a new generation of artists and dreamers. Tomas's students learned not only engineering, but also the art of listening to the land. Lyra's apprentices patrolled the wilds, keeping peace and forging friendships with distant settlements. Elias, now a respected elder, taught the city's children the old songs and the new, weaving memory and hope together. Mara, though her hair had silvered, remained the city's heart, her wisdom guiding the council through each new season. One spring morning, a group of children gathered at the gate, their laughter echoing through the stones. Among them was Tavi, a curious boy with a knack for asking questions others wouldn't dare. "Why do the others stay?" Tavi asked Sam, who was painting a new mural nearby. She smiled. "They're our friends and our reminders. They help us remember what balance means." Tavi considered this. "Do you think there are others in other places? Maybe places we haven't seen yet?" Sam's eyes sparkled. "The world is wide, Tavi. There's always more to discover." That summer, a message arrived from the far south, delivered by a wind-borne bird with feathers like polished glass. The message was simple: "Help us. The veil returns." The council convened immediately. Mara read the message aloud, her voice grave. "We thought the veil was healed, but it seems the world's wounds are deeper than we knew." Tomas examined the bird, marveling at its strange construction. "It's a messenger, but not of this world. Someone, or something, wants us to come." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "It could be a trap." Elias shook his head. "Or a plea. We cannot ignore it." Sam traced the message with her fingers. "I feel hope and fear, but mostly a need for help." Mara nodded. "We must answer. Tavi, would you like to join us?" The boy's eyes widened with excitement. "Yes, I want to see what's beyond the horizon." The council agreed. A new expedition would set out, carrying the memory and hope of New Avalon into the unknown. The journey south was unlike any before. The land grew wilder, the air thick with scents and sounds unfamiliar to the travelers. The others accompanied them, their forms adapting to the shifting landscape. Tavi peppered the elders with questions. "What's the farthest you've ever been? Do you think the veil is different here? Will the people be like us?" Mara smiled at his enthusiasm. "Every place is different, and every place is the same. People everywhere hope, fear, and dream." As they traveled, they encountered villages thriving in harmony with the land. Some had never seen the others, but welcomed them with curiosity and respect. In one village, a healer showed Sam a tapestry depicting a gate much like New Avalon's, but entwined with vines and flowers. We have our own stories of balance, the healer explained. But lately, the dreams have grown dark. Tomas examined the land, noting subtle signs of disturbance. Crops wilting, animals restless, shadows lingering longer than they should. Lyra kept watch at night, her senses alert for any sign of danger. After weeks of travel, the expedition reached a valley shrouded in mist. The villagers there greeted them with relief and fear. The Vale returned a month ago, their leader explained. People vanish in their sleep. The land is sick. Sam, Tavi, and the others entered the mist first, guided by instinct and memory. The world inside was twisted, colors bled into one another, and echoes of old voices whispered through the fog. Tavi clung to Sam's hand. "I'm not afraid," he insisted. Though his voice trembled, Sam squeezed his hand. "Courage isn't the absence of fear, Tavi. It's what you do despite it." They found the heart of the Vale, a pool of still water reflecting not the sky, but memories, some beautiful, some painful. The others sang, their voices weaving the memories into a tapestry of light. Mara, Elias, Tomas, and Lyra joined them, adding their own memories of loss, of hope, of love. Slowly, the veil began to lift and the valley brightened. The villagers wept with joy. "You've given us back our lives," the leader said. Mara replied, "We are all connected. Healing one place helps heal the world." The expedition returned to New Avalon bearing gifts and stories from the south. Tavi ran ahead, eager to share what he'd seen. "The world is so big. There are people like us everywhere, and everyone has stories to tell." The city welcomed the travelers with open arms. The council convened to hear their report, and Mara addressed the people from the gate. "We have learned that the world's wounds are deep, but so is its capacity for healing. As long as we remember, as long as we hope, we can face any darkness together." Sam unveiled a new mural, a map of the world, dotted with gates and circles of light, each one a promise of connection and balance. The others stood beside her, their forms radiant with pride, as the sun set. Mara looked out over New Avalon, her heart full. The story of survival had become a story of unity, memory, and endless possibility. And as long as there were new horizons to explore, the people of New Avalon would journey forward, together. Autumn arrived, painting New Avalon's trees in gold and crimson. The city was more alive than ever, filled with travelers, scholars, and artists from distant lands. Word had spread of the healing of the Vale in the south, and delegations now arrived from east and west, bearing news of their own gates, some long dormant, others newly awakened. The council chamber was filled with voices in many languages. Mara presided, her gaze steady as she listened to tales of hope and uncertainty. That a woman from the eastern mountains spoke first. "Our gate sings at dawn, calling us to remember, but we do not know how to answer." A young man from the western coast added, "Our gate is broken. Its stones are scattered. We fear what may come if we cannot restore it." Tavi, now a confident speaker, stood and addressed the assembly. "We have learned that every gate is part of the world's memory. When we share our stories, we help each other heal." Sam beside him nodded. "Art and song can bridge the distance between us. Let us gather at the gates together." The council resolved to host the first gathering of gates, inviting all peoples to share knowledge, art, and wisdom. The others, silent but attentive, offered their guidance. Preparations for the gathering began at once. Caravans set out from New Avalon, carrying invitations and gifts to every known gate. Mara, though older now, insisted on leading the first group, accompanied by Elias, Lyra, Tomas, Sam, and Tavi. Their journey took them through lands both familiar and strange. In the eastern mountains, they found a village where the gate was woven with bells and ribbons. The villagers welcomed them with music, and Sam painted a mural that shimmered in the morning sun. On the western coast, they found the broken gate, its stones scattered along the shore. Tomas worked with local builders to reassemble it, using new materials and old memories. When the last stone was set, the gate hummed with energy, and the villagers danced in celebration. Everywhere they went, the others helped interpret the ancient songs and symbols, revealing connections long forgotten. To each stop, Tavi collected stories of hardship, joy, and the mysteries of the world. "We are all part of the same story," he said, "even when we don't realize it." The gathering of gates began on the night of the winter solstice. People from every land arrived in New Avalon, their faces alight with anticipation. The city's plazas overflowed with lanterns, music, and laughter. At midnight, the gates across the world resonated together for the first time in living memory. A wave of energy pulsed through the land, carrying dreams and memories from one gate to another. Sam stood before the largest gate, brush in hand, as children from every nation added their own colors to a mural that stretched across the stones. Mara addressed the assembly, her voice strong despite the years. "Tonight, we remember that we are not alone. The world is vast, but our hearts are joined by memory and hope. Let us keep the gates open and our minds open as well." The others sang, their voices weaving through the crowd, binding everyone in a tapestry of light. In the weeks after the gathering, peace reigned. Trade flourished and new friendships blossomed. But beneath the surface, Mara sensed a subtle unease. One evening, as she walked the city walls, the bridge being appeared beside her, its form flickering with uncertainty. "The balance is strong, but not unbreakable," it warned. "There are shadows that linger, drawn to the light. Be watchful, Mara." She nodded, her heart heavy. "What must we do?" "Remember that unity is not the absence of conflict, but the willingness to face it together. Trust your people, trust the others, and trust yourself." Mara shared the warning with the council. Lyra doubled the patrols at the city's edges, and Tomas worked with the others to strengthen the gate's harmonies. Sam painted a mural of a watchful eye above the city, a reminder to remain vigilant even in times of peace. Months passed, and the city's vigilance was tested. Travelers from the north brought tales of shadow that crept through the forests, leaving crops blighted and dreams troubled. Elias organized a team to investigate, with Tavi eager to join. "I want to help," he insisted. "We can't ignore the signs." They journeyed north, guided by the others. In the heart of the forest, they found a place where the veil had thinned once more. But this time, it was not memory or hope that seeped through. It was fear. The shadow took many forms, feeding on doubt and division. The team struggled, their unity strained by old grievances and new suspicions. But Tavi remembered the lessons of New Avalon. He gathered the group around a fire and led them in sharing stories, not just of triumph, but of mistakes and forgiveness. Slowly, the shadow weakened, unable to withstand the light of truth and reconciliation. When they returned, Mara greeted them with pride. "You faced the darkness, not with force, but with understanding. That is the true strength of New Avalon." As spring returned, the city stood ready for whatever the future might bring. Its people united, its gates open, and its story still unfolding. The arrival of spring brought with it a renewed sense of purpose. New Avalon, now a beacon for distant lands, found itself at the heart of a growing alliance. Delegations from mountain strongholds, coastal cities, and desert oases arrived, each bearing gifts and proposals for shared learning and protection. The council chamber was alive with debate. Mara, her wisdom revered, presided with a gentle but steady hand. Tomas spoke of the need for a network to monitor the health of the world's gates. Lyra advocated for a code of mutual defense, while Sam and Tavi urged the inclusion of artists and storytellers in every envoy. One morning, as the sun rose over the city's towers, the others gathered with the council in the amphitheater. Their leader, a being of shifting light and shadow, addressed the assembly. "The gates are strong, but unity must be tended like a garden. We offer our knowledge, but each people must choose their own path." A treaty was drafted, a new accord, pledging mutual support, the free sharing of knowledge, and a commitment to face the unknown together. The treaty was sealed not with signatures, but with a weaving of stories and songs, binding the alliance in memory and hope. Yet, even as unity blossomed, seeds of discord took root. In a village far to the east, a group of elders questioned the wisdom of opening their gate. "We have survived by keeping to ourselves," they argued. "Why risk inviting trouble?" Rumors spread that the others were manipulating the gates for their own purposes. Some whispered that the bridge being's warnings were a sign of coming betrayal. Mara traveled east with Sam and Tavi, seeking to ease fears. In the village square, she listened as the elders voiced their concerns. "We do not wish to lose our way of life," one said. "We remember the old wars." Sam painted a mural on the village wall, depicting the gates as bridges, not barriers. Tavi spoke to the children, sharing stories of the gathering and the healing of the veil. Gradually, suspicion gave way to curiosity. A few villagers agreed to visit New Avalon, to see for themselves the promise of unity, to celebrate the new accord. New Avalon hosted the Festival of Journeys. Caravans arrived from every corner of the Alliance, bringing foods, crafts, and tales of distant lands. The city was transformed into a living map, with each district hosting games and performances inspired by a different culture. The others joined the festivities, teaching dances that mimicked the movement of the auroras and sharing songs that resonated with the gates. Mara stood in the main square, watching his children from a dozen lands play together. Tomas demonstrated a device that could project memories as images in the air. Lyra led a contest of skill and wit, while Sam's murals grew to cover entire buildings, each one a testament to the city's diversity. Tavi, now a young man, guided new arrivals through the city, his enthusiasm infectious. "Every journey changes us," he said, "and every story connects us." As summer deepened, a new challenge emerged. The river that ran through New Avalon began to swell, fed by distant storms. Fields flooded, and some outlying villages were forced to evacuate. The council met in emergency session. Tomas proposed building new channels to redirect the water, while Lyra organized rescue teams. Sam and Tavi coordinated with artists and storytellers to keep spirits high in the temporary camps. Mara visited the flooded fields, speaking with farmers and listening to their worries. "This is not just a test of our strength," she told them, "but of our compassion. With the help of the others, who shaped the water with their strange abilities, the worst was averted. When the waters receded, the land was richer and the people closer than ever. The floodwaters left behind fertile soil and a sense of shared accomplishment." New Avalon and its allies rebuilt quickly, planting new crops and forging new friendships. The bridge being appeared at the gate, its form radiant with approval. "You have faced darkness and flood, suspicion and hope. The world is changing, and you are its stewards." At a ceremony beneath the stars, Mara addressed the gathered peoples. "We have learned that unity is not the absence of hardship, but the courage to face it together. The gates are open, the world is wide, and our story is only beginning." As the crowd cheered, Sam unveiled her latest mural, a vision of the world, its gates shining like stars, connected by rivers of light. And so, with memory and hope as their guide, the people of New Avalon stepped into a new age, ready for whatever wonders and challenges the future would bring. With the dawn of the new age, New Avalon's council realized that the city's greatest strength was its diversity of knowledge. Mara proposed the creation of the Learning Circle, a gathering of scholars, artisans, healers, and storytellers from every allied land. The city's amphitheater was transformed into a vibrant hub. Each day, lessons were shared. A healer from the southern oases demonstrated ancient remedies. A mountain smith revealed techniques for forging tools that harmonized with the land, and Sam led children in painting murals that captured the stories of every culture. Tavi, now apprenticed to Tomas, helped design a device that could record and replay the voices of the Learning Circle, so that their wisdom would never be lost. "We are all teachers," he said, "and all students." The others participated as well, sharing insights into the nature of the veil, the gates, and the delicate balance that held the world together. Their lessons were often cryptic but always profound, reminding everyone that some mysteries were meant to be explored together. late in the summer, a strange illness swept through a distant coastal town. The afflicted fell into deep sleep, their minds trapped in vivid dreams. Word reached New Avalon, and the council responded at once. Lyra led a team of healers, including Sam and 2 others, to investigate. The town was eerily quiet, its people lost in dreams that seemed to bleed into waking reality. Flowers blooming in impossible colors, music echoing from empty streets. Sam painted a mural in the town square, hoping to anchor the dreamers to the waking world. The others sang a song of memory, weaving it through the dreams. Inside the dreams, Lyra and Sam found themselves walking through a landscape shaped by the fears and hopes of the townspeople. They gathered the dreamers, reminding them of their lives, their families, and the world waiting for them one by one. The townspeople awoke, their memories restored. The plague faded, leaving behind a sense of wonder and a new respect for the power of dreams. Inspired by Tavi's enthusiasm and the children's curiosity, Mara proposed a council of youth, a forum where the youngest citizens could share their ideas and concerns. The first session was lively. Children from every allied land gathered in the amphitheater, debating everything from the design of new playgrounds to the best way to welcome travelers. Tavi presided, encouraging even the shyest voices to speak. That a girl from the eastern mountains suggested planting gardens along every road, so that no traveler would ever go hungry. A boy from the western coast proposed building floating bridges, inspired by the others' ability to shape water. The council took their ideas seriously, and many were put into practice. New Avalon blossomed with gardens and bridges, each one a testament to the creativity and hope of its youngest citizens. As autumn deepened, a night arrived when the moon vanished and the stars seemed to flicker. The city grew uneasy, old fears stirring in the darkness. That night, Mara dreamed of the bridge being, its form troubled. There are shadows that memory alone cannot banish, it warned. You must shine your light together. When she awoke, Mara called a gathering in the main square. Sam and the others led the people in painting lanterns, each one bearing a memory of hope or forgiveness. Tavi organized the children to deliver lanterns to every home. As darkness fell, the city glowed with thousands of lights. The shadows receded, and the people sang songs of unity and remembrance. Lyra, watching from the city walls, smiled. We are not alone in the darkness. We carry the dawn within us. Winter settled gently over New Avalon, blanketing the city in quiet. The learning circle continued. The Council of Youth flourished, and the Alliance of Gates grew stronger with every passing season. Mara, older now, walked the city each morning, her heart full of gratitude. She knew her time as leader was nearing its end, but she saw in Tavi, Sam, Lyra, Tomas, and the new generation of strength that would guide New Avalon for years to come. To the year's end, the city gathered once more at the gate. Mara addressed the crowd. We have learned that hope is not a gift, but a choice. That unity is not the absence of difference, but the celebration of it. The world will always bring new challenges, but together we will meet them with memory, with courage, and with love. The others sang, their voices rising with the wind, and the people of New Avalon joined in, a chorus of hope, echoing into the future. And so, the story continued, ever unfolding as the city at the heart of the world walked its path forward, guided by the light of 1,000 memories and the promise of tomorrow.